Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting of your Westland City Council to order. We'll begin tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Doug Wishart.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Wishart. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bauman. Present. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Hornbuckle. Here. Councilwoman Rakowski. Present. Pro Tem Sampe. Present. Councilman Wishart. Present. Council President McDermott.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Okay. We have no special announcements or presentations this evening, so we will now move on to questions or input on the agenda from the public. This section will allow members of the public at the beginning of the meeting to address the council regarding items that are on tonight's business agenda. Questions may be asked and responded to during the agenda item following a motion and support from your city council. Is there anyone on my left? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, guys. My name is Linda Filzetti, Westland resident for the last 12 years. I'm actually looking to discuss the consent calendar A, approval of the master equity lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management. I am understanding that it's for a replacement of 4 patrol cars. I guess I did kind of read through the packet, but my concern is stating that it says it's $125,000. We'll just leave it at that for the first year. and it's a lease, but it doesn't state what the 2nd through 5th year is, if I'm reading it correctly. And my final concern is if you're looking through the actual lease agreement, it's quite a lot of responsibility as opposed to actually owning the vehicle and leasing. So there's a little bit of concern there, and I'm just wondering, you know, have these all been addressed? I mean, the maintenance, the miles, you know, that kind of thing, you know, cost analysis to owning it. Just gonna throw it out there.
Sure. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Is there anyone on my right wishing to speak on the business agenda? Anyone else on my left? Anyone else in the audience? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Are there any changes to the consent calendar?
Council President,
Yes.
I'd like to move item A, consent calendar to new business.
Okay. Is there support? Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Hart to move item A to new business, supported by Councilwoman Baumann. All right, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Baumann?
Yes.
Councilman Hart?
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle? Yes. Councilwoman Rakowski?
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe?
Yes.
Councilman Wishart?
Yes.
Council President McDermott?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now back to the original motion on the consent calendar. Are there any other changes to the consent calendar? Any other changes to the consent calendar? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, the motion passes. Singular.
Council has approved the following consent calendar item: approval of schedule of regular meetings of the Westland City Council for the 2025 calendar year. Moving to payment of voucher.
Is there a motion?
Motion. Support.
There's a motion by Councilman Hornbuckle, supported by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter?
No.
Any additional discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion passes.
New business item number 1, approval of minutes of regular meeting held November 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Support.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilwoman Rakowski. Is there any discussion from the maker? Any discussion from the supporter? Any additional discussion from the council? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Baumann?
Yes.
Councilman Hart?
Yes.
Councilman Hornbuckle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rakowski?
Yes.
Pro Tem Sampe?
Yes.
Councilman Wishart?
Esteemed due to absence.
And Council President McDermott?
Yes.
Motion passes. New business, item 1A, formerly known as consent calendar item A, approval of the master equity lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management to replace 4 patrol vehicles for the police department.
So moved.
Support.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart. There is support from Councilwoman Rakowski. Is there any questions from the maker?
Council President, I'd like the chief to go ahead and just kind of break it down for everybody.
Sure, Chief, if you would.
Sure.
Feel free.
So-
The floor is yours.
Sorry. In 2022, we purchased a larger quantity of patrol vehicles at one time.
It wasn't, we got, we were in a situation where we had a lot of old cars, and when it came up, we ended up purchasing 20 Explorers. Those are now 2 years old, and in the budget prep meeting, I was trying to get some more patrol cars, so that each year we get an amount of cars, so we're not in that situation again, where we might go 2 or 3 years without a cars, then we got to buy 6 or 7. So I did some more research on this, looking into it. I remember a presentation through Enterprise Fleet Management a few years ago, and that was for a full fleet turnout, and that wasn't a good fit at the time. So I started looking into that again as far as, instead of a full fleet, a few at a time each year. And the leasing, this looks good, or worked out best, so I reached out to Eric from Enterprise and kind of had him come in and say, hey, what can I do for just a few each year so we're consistently getting new cars? And the pricing works out good. These are, to be upfitted, they're $80,000 per car. So what we're now here to do is just get 4 at this time, and then each budget study session, I'm going to be asking for 4 each year, but that's for down the road. But that's the goal, is to have a fleet of new cars, a constant fleet that's no more than 5 years old, and they'll get turned back in, so to speak. There's no mileage issues on those. Our maintenance, I anticipate our maintenance budget going down, or being able to go down, especially as this really kicks off.
But for this first thing, it's going to be, so it's
I think $70,000 a year, $71,000 a year is in the packet. The first year has half of the upfit, so if there's 4 cars purchased, to upfit them is $80,000 for all 4 cars. So we have to pay for half of that, so that's what adds on to the $78,000 for the first year, which would be covered under drug forfeiture funds. And then I met with finance team to see if this is something we can do. And, Dan Block and Steve Smith and Devin, met with them in depth about is this a way to go moving forward? We feel it's financially efficient, safer, and again, this is just for the first 4, but if we do continue this down the road, and if it's, let's say, year 3 or 4, it's not a good fit, we can always just not do any cars that year. But I really want to give this a try for the first lease. City of Wayne, Melvindale, there's a few cities around us that do use Enterprise for this. We're not new. This isn't a new product for us. This is be something that's been up and running for many years that I want to get on with this program now so we don't end up in 3 or 5 years with a bunch of cars with over 100,000 miles on them. I think the officers can even say, even the cars that are the newest fleet we have from that purchase, they run 24/7 and they're climbing up miles already. They're good, safe cars, but I want to just stay ahead of it. And that way there's no major expense. Financially, I know I've spoke a lot with Dan. He can fill in as needed. And then we also have Eric here from Enterprise that can speak on any further questions. But that's kind of the gist of it here.
Eric, if you wanted to step up, just in case the council has any questions for you, we appreciate that.
And Jody too, I'm sorry.
Councilman, did you have any other questions?
Jody, my coworker, is with me as well, so.
Okay, yeah, please, both of you, feel free to come up. Councilman.
Thank you, Council President. To Enterprise, through the chair, through Enterprise. I've used DFM before in a previous, so it worked out pretty good for us at that point for the fleet management, being able to lease those. So I'm supportive. I'm just curious, one deal we had when I used DFM before, do we get first right of refusal for buyout on residual value of the vehicle, or does that just go straight back to you?
No, those funds actually belong to the city, so any sale of any vehicle that you lease from Enterprise, we are financing. I feel like I'm on auto tune right now.
Yeah, there's something going on with the auto.
I apologize,
Yeah,
it's-
audio.
No, it's, no, so all of the vehicles are gonna be on our books for $1 at the end of the lease term. Any difference between the $1 and the resale value is the city's to keep, because ultimately it's the taxpayers' money, right? So part of the goal in working with Chief Dolly and working with Mr. Block and Mr. Smith in finance was, hey, how do we sort of roll this out to where, we give this a trial run. The city's under no obligation to keep using Enterprise in the future. We have to earn your business one vehicle at a time. And that comes from helping you be proactive as possible. That comes from bringing value. And every single year, we're going to be in a spot where, we're going to seek council approval. So, having said that, yeah, it's because it's the equity lease agreement. The contract clearly says that any difference between the resale value and the book value is the city's to keep. Furthermore, I know that there was a concern regarding some of the language. I have already provided Chief Dolly, Mr. Block, Mr. Smith with language that could offset some of the risks that other municipal attorneys have requested, as just part of the process. That's already been submitted, and if the city of Westland wanted to request those agreements or addendums to the master lease agreement, we'd be more than happy to have those authored. We totally understand that, the city needs to be protected, the taxpayers ultimately, need to be taken care of.
Okay, and the follow-up question. So we're doing the upfit, and they're amortizing the upfit for us. Did I catch that correctly? Or?
So I've already, for the purposes of this packet, those 4, if we get approved to buy those 4, they're upfitted exactly how I want them, down to model numbers by the equipment. So they'll be delivered to our driveway, fully ready to go. In fact, our cameras and our computers and our radios, we're going to be shipping to this company that it's licensed to outfit all these.
So we have the L3, they're certified to do L3, they're certified to do Axon.
So they would literally roll off and then they'd be in use. We'd have to pay 50% of the outfit in the first year, and then here's 2 through 5 would just be the lease payments for those 4 cars.
Okay, so when we turn, last one, Councilman,
Go ahead,
I
no,
apologize.
please.
So when we turn the vehicles in on lease, we give them back to Enterprise, do we have to pay to unfit these vehicles?
I don't remember. I thought we can either sell them ourselves, we can retain them for the $1, or take them back to EFM, you can sell them, and then we get the value, the check comes back to the city.
A lot of times what happens is you can take out whatever equipment that you want to transfer to the next vehicle. So if there's any equipment that can be moved from one vehicle to the next, you can take that out and switch those up. The outfitter can do it. And then however else you want to sell the vehicle, we can just sell the vehicle as is. I mean, that's the most cost-effective way.
So the other thing with that, with the program that we offer, because you're going to be replacing vehicles in a more structured manner, the goal is to ultimately be able to replace as much equipment as possible, in 4 or 5 years. With these vehicles being Tahoes, there hasn't been any significant body style change or anything like that. And if Chief Valley wanted to continue to use the Tahoe, it obviously just makes the transfer process as efficient as possible as well.
That's it for now, Council President. Thank you.
Councilwoman?
Thank you. Thank you, Council President. Good evening. Thank you for being in attendance. I just wanted to clarify a couple things that I feel like I heard part of, but maybe not the remainder of. So in the first year, we're paying 50% of the outfitting cost, which would be roughly $40,000 then? Okay. And so then the first year's lease amount is the $125,980. That's for to lease the vehicles for year one.
I think it's the 70,000, it's added the 40,000 outfit to that, would be, is it 78,000 a year?
Yeah, but we're also anticipating the sale of the vehicles to be around 28.5, so I think the total net cost was,
97.
was that?
97,000.
Yeah, it's less than $100,000 is what we're anticipating the net cost to be, after we factor in the resale value of the vehicles that would be returned.
And that would be the 4 oldest or worst cars in our fleet is what would be sold for old athletes.
Okay, and those aren't gonna retain very much value because they depreciate astronomically, just like our own vehicles at home. As soon as we drive it off the lot, it's not worth much of anything. So the $125,980.48 includes the entirety of the outfitting cost or just the 50% of the outfitting cost?
It would be 50% of the cost. The other 50% is built into the.
It is amortized, it's capped into the cost of the vehicle that's amortized over 5 years.
Okay, wonderful. So then for years 2, 3, 4, and 5, what are we anticipating as lease payments in total for those years?
It's $71,568.
And that's less than the cost of buying a new Tahoe as it is right now.
I'm clearly aware. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I'm clearly aware. And then you said that a lot of the cars that are currently have been purchased using the capital pull ahead with the ARPA dollars already clocking a lot of mileage. My understanding is we usually look at those vehicles with use hours. So are we kind of making those one and the same?
We would look at both, keeping track. Those cars are all fine. Those would be ones that we'd be replacing 2020s and 2021 cars that we have in service right now.
Okay, and then, so this is for 4 vehicles for 5 years, and then would you then, at the end of 5 years, be looking at replacing, those same 4, or are we gonna be anticipating having to replace 8 at year 5?
In year 5, it would be each time just the last, 4 cars at a time. It could be the last 4 that we have on the fleet for every transaction that we're able to make.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't very happy when we purchased 20 vehicles right out of the gate. I thought that was irresponsible to have them, we could have ordered them and then taken receipt of those vehicles, in a staggered throughout the time of our opportunity here with the ARPA allocation. So it's a little disappointing to know that we've purchased 20 vehicles that are already seeing, the majority of their life in service being dwindled. I think this is a wonderful program, however, but I just don't like the lack of prudence of having purchased 20 vehicles, outfitted 20 vehicles, and now we're turning around and we're going to have to sell these vehicles at a much less value, right? That's not really going to offset much of anything here. But, I digress. I wish that would have been staggered so that we wouldn't have been caught with this problem. But for $71,000 annually, obviously that's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to dollars and cents. But as far as having those vehicles unoutfitted, if you will. I would imagine there's a charge for that.
So the cars that were bought from that one-time purchase are all still gonna be in service after this. Those will probably be possibly tiers 2 and 3. So they'll have, at that point, be 4 or 5 years old that we've had. So usually we take, our sports services guys take some of the stuff out, like the only thing we would really retain would be the camera system. So our guys are certified to take out the Axon cameras, and then the Clemens computer and Motorola radio. That or we have a local shop that we could take it to for those. The cars, because they're Ford Explorers, they're unique to that, and they change just enough that a lot of the emergency equipment, it just stays with the car. Or if we take it to public auction, we take off and we just take it off, and we try to sell it, Bitter-G, different things like that. And some places take, like for example, like the CPO car was bought fully equipped except for our 3 personal things, so that's another option too for other cars. But as far as I'm looking to do 4 and 4.
Well, one of the things that I liked hearing from Enterprise was that this is the taxpayers' dollars at the end of the day, because now it truly is, and that we're not not utilizing ARPA money to make this purchase. And I like the idea that it would have a dollar value by the end of the amortization, and perhaps some of those vehicles would still be in service life that we could utilize and offset some of the other part of our fleet. So I appreciate your time. I didn't really have questions for you. They were more for the chief, but I'll be in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Pro Tem Sampe.
Thank you. So I have some questions and comment statements. First off, through the chair to the chief, how many fleets in total do we currently have?
So we have 24 marked patrol units right now.
Mark, okay.
And that'd be something that, right now, we haven't done a study on our fleet in a while. We're still getting close to our budget number of staff levels, and that's something I plan on doing this spring and summer before this rolls out too much, and see what do I actually need, because it might not be 24, it might be 20, it might be 21, 22. And I'm trying to be efficient with everything, and that's something that if we have too many cars that we don't need, but it's sometimes nice to have a few extras to help keep miles down on some other ones. But I definitely plan on doing a study on that this spring, summer to dive into that.
So is the intention of starting this with Enterprise to eventually roll out and switch from Ford to GM Tahoes across the board? Is that the intention, is to have one uniform maker of our police vehicles?
No, so this purchase, I'd like, the state police do tests every year. This is, a couple years ago, the Tahoes weren't the best. There were some issues with the emissions they were getting in and getting the officers sick. We also had that with our Explorers at one point, and we have CO2 detectors in each patrol car now. So it happens across the board. I happen to like the full-size SUV. The guys wear a lot of gear. I mean, I'm not petite. Where there's a lot of stuff, the equipment, and that's kind of where I want to go. Do we have the one F-150 that's outfitted? That's wonderful. I like it, but I do like the more utility of the full SUV. Right now, I don't believe there's an Expedition option. It's just a Chevy Tahoe and the Dodge Durango, not to beat up on that. I like the Durango, all-wheel drives. They're still a smaller SUV, and they've been, through tests, there's been a lot of engine issues. I think Indiana State Police returned, or had an issue, there was like 200 or 300 they sent back to send back to a major engine repair, so I kind of want to get away from that. So I kind of landed back with Tahoes for now, but that's not to say that if down the road, if there's something else comes around, I just like the full size more so than it's just a Tahoe.
I got it. I'm a Ford girl, obviously, because my husband works at Ford, but I mean, I'm okay because my dad retired from GM, so good with that. Based on accidents, I don't know if this is an Enterprise question or through the chair to the chief again. If an accident was to happen, obviously we know that in the line of work that is done with our police department, things are totaled out. Is this an insurance claim with you guys that is going to increase their rates? I mean, how does it typically work? Because we know returning leased vehicles with damage is going to be something that could be expected.
Let Jody tackle this one, because she works with the city of Inkster, and they've been known to damage a police vehicle or two, so.
So, how it works is, it's just like your insurance company, however you guys want to do it. If you want to just pay out whatever the reduced book value is on the vehicle, because maybe there's not much owed left on it, then you can be done with it. If you want to fix it, you can fix it. So consider the lease more of a finance option, so all you're doing is paying the vehicle down to a reduced book value, which ends up being $1. So if it comes back with some damage, we can just sell it. All it does is just, take away a little bit of whatever the equity would be on the vehicle. So if it has some scrapes or dents or a little banged up bumper, we would usually just tell you just to sell it because it's not worth fixing it. So I would help kind of give that sort of recommendation depending on what was happening on the vehicle.
Okay, all right, so knowing that being said, for the chair to the chief, knowing that accidents do happen, looking at our police officers and depending on what may happen in the future, let's just say a week into having the vehicle, it's totaled out and money's lost because we made the investment of a lease vehicle. Who's going to pay that difference in the budget? Is that taken off of your budget? Is it taken out of a different fund? Maybe you can address that, because I think the question that was brought up is what's the liability for the city going into a lease versus own?
Okay, sure. So that was something that I had a hard time doing. When you said it's basically you're financing for 5 years, when we do involve crashes, it's through MMRMA, does an adjustment on it. They say either, here's this, I don't know if Steve, you want to talk, or Danny, you want to talk more about the MMRMA aspect of it, but it would be, like, if it gets totaled the first week, they'd say, hey, this is what they give back to the city for the money from the insurance company. So it would be, as far as that, it would just be the standard, whether we still owe or not, it would be.
All right, so through the chair to our finance team, can you maybe explain what that looks like then in terms of our budgetary concerns, whether it's totaled out, and then from there, do we see an increase in our premiums? We're going to have a value that is significantly decreased from a vehicle perspective, and we owe whatever amount is the difference. So if it's a $70,000 vehicle, you crash on day one, and what does that look like for repair? If maybe it can't be repaired, it's totaled out. Who's eating that budget?
Through the chair, it would be just kind of a normal claim through MMRMA. We'd pay a deductible, but then the insurance would kick in, and we'd get enough money in essence to pay off whatever is needed, and it would just flow through the insurance company.
Okay, so just to reiterate then, if it's totaled on day two, I don't want to say day one, that kind of way. Day two, $70,000 vehicle, we're making an insurance claim because we can't turn it back in, obviously with the lease vehicle. From a budget perspective, we're just getting the money from our insurance company, so it's a budget neutral, zero.
Because then we would have to pay you guys what we owe.
Correct.
So we would get money from the insurance company, and then we'd cut a check to you guys, or the insurance company would do that.
We would work with them directly.
Yeah, we would just work with the insurance company directly. Because we are the boss payee, we know that MMRMA covers the vehicle, so it'll cover it just like the policy. Most of the municipalities that we work with, they are covered by MMRMA.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd be happy to try this program. I guess I'm just kind of struggling understanding how this is going to roll out. I'm walking in this with reservations just because of the risk. Lease vehicles are a little bit different. So.
Well, Madam, one thing that we always have to explain, and Enterprise is a very large company, so I don't get to call the shots on what verbiage is allowed to be used and not. I wish they would get rid of the word lease because it's really a finance, but there is no over mileage penalty. There is no early turn-in penalty. There's also no wear and tear penalty. So all you're doing is just like your mortgage, you're just writing the vehicle, you get it at a certain dollar value and you're just writing it down over a set period. So even if the vehicles were dinged or dented, as they were being utilized, the city's not going to be in a position where, they're going to get hit for charges of, there was a dent here, there was a dent there. I know on my personal vehicle, if I go, over mileage on my lease, I have to pay, I think it's 35 cents. They don't give me 35 cents for every mile I was under, when I turned it in 14,000 miles under because of COVID. Furthermore, if I damage that vehicle, I have to pay for it. That our finance mechanism doesn't work that way. So really, the whole goal is for us to be able to replace 3 or 4 vehicles for the cost of purchasing one. And when we do that, what it's going to do across the entire fleet is you're going to have safer, more reliable vehicles. You're going to cut down what you're spending in maintenance or repair, and you're ultimately going to get better resale value. Okay.
My question actually, most of the questions I had asked the chief were asked already, but there was one question I still had that I did ask, I want to put out there. And it was touched on a little bit, is that we're looking at year 1 right now, and I'm not sure exactly who this is really going to go to, I think, right, the chief or to Director Blackfoot. We're looking at year 1 and the cost. There is the idea that in year 2, we'll look at if this is working to start the cycle of the program, so that even though we bought 20 vehicles a couple years ago, we're looking at replacing them slowly over time, so that so if we do look at the year 2 measurement and the cost on year 2, year 3, on this thing, they're going to change. And the idea that by year 5, we're basically going to have a cost for the lease it's going to be rolling over, and it'll be larger than 71,000. So this grid here is a little bit different. So I just want to kind of clarify that, because that's if council approves it as part of the budget. That's something that my understanding is that's what the intention is to look at. Is that correct?
Yes. Dan can probably answer that best. Explain it to me how that would work if this were to continue to be an every year thing.
Through the chair, essentially, like if let's say, just hypothetical, you did 4 vehicles each year and they were leased through enterprise each of the years. By year 5, you have 20 leasing, but all being kind of staggered because you have basically 5 different lease agreements for those 5 years. And year 1, the cost is 71,000. Again, if you're doing 4, year 2 is not going to be, in theory, 140,000, and it's going to build, in essence, to the cost to replace 4 vehicles outright, which I think is like 320,000. So, in essence, it's deferring $320,000 cost today over 5 years if you implement it each of the 5 years.
And Mr. Rock, when we met here, I know you were kind enough to kind of actually show the impact on the time value of money. I don't know if you want to just speak to that.
We did look at the time value of money, but basically took the total cost of this 5-year term and did a present value analysis, and it showed, I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it showed that the present value was cheaper, was a cheaper amount compared to purchasing outright.
It was about $14,000 positive to the good. And that's funds that can be redirected to other operations in the city as well. So
I like the idea of being able to have newer cars every 5 years. You don't know that we're going to recycle, go through this, and you only get 5 years, 5 cars every year, but always basically to some degree, our police aren't driving anything older than 5 years is what ultimately what that would be there. And I just, okay, so the only question I still have now that I think about it is, if it's so considering it's a financing, there's no talk of an interest rate. I mean, normally when you have finance, there's an interest rate, so I guess and even leasing, there's usually an interest rate of some sort. How does that?
So there is an interest component in the lease, and also full disclosure, there is a management fee that we charge for our services. But because the city is able to utilize Sourcewell pricing, which Enterprise Fleet Management won the national bid for Sourcewell Fleet Management Services, there's actually a reduction in interest that the city gets if it was a for-profit company. So there are fixed contractual terms via Sourcewell that I've already shared with the city that we have to honor because that's what, we entered into an agreement with Sourcewell. So the city's protected from, interest rates rising, throughout the lease term, the interest is fixed. The management fee is also reduced through Sourcewell. So every single, year that goes by, we will actually help the city determine whether it's best to use state contract pricing on the vehicle. Because these vehicles are coming out of state, the company that we were working with, they don't have to honor Michigan state fuel pricing. So that's where Sourcewell just turned out to be a much better value for the city. But every single year we'll analyze whether the city should utilize Sourcewell and, but there are pricing concessions that are already built into that agreement with Sourcewell.
One last question.
Go ahead.
Through the chair to the attorney, based on the original comment that there could be some modifications to the contract, I guess, could you speak to that? I guess I want to understand, I don't really understand what that was.
Yes, he's speaking about terms relative to indemnity was one of the terms that I can't remember, sir, could you?
Yeah, we have a cross indemnification addendum that basically states that Enterprise Fleet Management agrees to indemnify the city, if we fail to meet our obligations. So the city wouldn't be liable if we messed up. We will even pay for the attorney's fees in this scenario. Every municipality from Livingston County to the city of Detroit to the city of Inkster, they have requested that language. Two, because we are also headquartered out of Missouri, most municipal attorneys say, hey, I don't care about Missouri law, I want the governing state of the agreement that we entered into to be Michigan. So I've already provided, and I think you have the state of Michigan addendum and the cross indemnification addendum.
So anyways, those are the two provisions that were specifically referenced, and through our office, the administration, we requested that those be added as addenda.
So if we approve it today, it would be approved based on adding those addendums?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have to say anything about that in our motion though? Oh, okay.
All set? Councilman, do you have a question?
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to bring this back around. No, thank you for coming out. Like I said, I've dealt with this before, so really, this is just a cost-saving mechanism. It's going to work. We have to buy vehicles whether we go through the Enterprise Fleet Management or whether we go there and buy it on the open market. So this saves us sort of percent of money. Dan Block explained net present value and how that changed. So that makes sense. It's good for them because they maintain ownership of the vehicle. It's their asset. It's their asset, and they're going to go run an aggressive depreciation cycle off of that thing to be able to depreciate the asset on their books, so it looks good for them, they make money. We tie into their pricing so that we can get the best pricing for the vehicle, and our hands are clean. As far as, concerns about accidents and everything else, it's no different than whether you bought it or whether you leased it. A wreck is a wreck, insurance is insurance. Doesn't matter if I bought my F-150 or if I leased my F-150, I still have insurance on it, they pay the value on it, and that's how it is. So if we wreck a car and we have to cure the lease with Enterprise, whatever that car is, if it gets totaled out. And if we don't get enough, we didn't get enough, we eat it. If we got some extra, hey, cool. Which probably won't be like that. So thank you for coming out and explaining it to me. I appreciate it. I'll be in support. Thank you.
The only question I had, so my understanding, Ford is discontinuing the Explorer as far as the police model, correct?
That's my understanding.
And they had the hybrid model, which we had purchased some ago. From my understanding, General Motors does not have a hybrid model, which really right? It's just a straight ICE engine.
No, it's, right now, it is, there is talk, potentially years in the future of having an EV vehicle, but we are not there, and,
So it's just a regular ICE engine.
correct.
Okay, that's all I have. Is there any other discussion from the council? Any other discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing seeing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you survived it.
The gauntlet.
New business, item number 2, confirmation of reappointment of Dennis Weiss to the Westland Board of Review for a 3-year term effective upon council confirmation and expire December 6, 2027.
So moved.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart, there's support by Councilman Wishart. Did the administration have any comments?
No, nothing other than thank you for continuing to serve. Appreciate it.
Any comments from the maker?
No, sir.
Any comments from the supporter?
No, sir.
Any other comments from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? And seeing none, motion carries. Congratulations.
New business
item number 3, confirmation of appointment of Cassandra Myers to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council to fill an unexpired term effective upon confirmation and to expire December 31st, 2025.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
The motion by Councilman Hart, there's support by Councilman Wishart. Does the administration have anything they want to add?
I just want to thank Cassandra for applying to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council. Appreciate your willingness to serve your community, and we ask council for support on this. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the maker or council or maker?
Is Cassandra here?
Please. Yes.
Very good, thank you. That's it.
Okay. Any comments from the supporter?
No, sir.
Okay. Any additional comments from the council? Yes, Reverend.
Yes. Is Ms. Myers, I'm sorry, I have not met you. Is she able to introduce herself?
Yeah,
So
if
we
you'd like
know
to
who
come
we're
on, please feel free.
appointing or not
My
appointing?
apologies. Hi.
It's okay, thank
My
you.
name is Cassandra Myers. I've been a Westland resident for about 6 years. I do a lot of activities in the community. I'm part of a tennis group called Opportunity Tennis Academy. I'm a Girl Scout leader. I work at Henry Ford College and workforce development as a program manager. I kind of just look forward to providing service in the space that I live in. So that's what made me want to join the board. Or join the committee. So thank you all for accepting me, and I look forward to serving.
Anyone?
No, thank you. We haven't met, so thank you for introducing yourself. We usually just get a resume, so it's good to put, a background with a face, and we appreciate you showing up today and introducing yourself, so thank you.
Thank you. I just had one question to the administration. After this one, we still have then one vacancy on Parks and Recreation Advisory.
Yeah, through the chair, we did have one member resign at the October meeting, so there is currently one vacancy.
Okay, thank you. Is there any additional discussion from the council? Oh, yes.
I just had one.
Yes, Council.
I just want to know who Cassandra was so I could tell you in person, go blue.
All right, any additional discussion from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing one, motion carries. Congratulations.
New business, item number 4, nomination of member to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term effective upon confirmation and to expire January 3rd, 2028. Tim Furlong has submitted a letter requesting consideration for reappointment.
So moved. Support.
Actually, I believe it's Council President.
Yes.
I would like to nominate.
No, that's
Tim
great,
Furlong.
thank you.
Yep.
Council President, I'd like to nominate Mr. Furlong.
You could have seconded me.
Or
I
also-
just did that.
Okay.
How about that? I will second
Motion
Councilman
to
Rakowski.
nominate Tim Furlong by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilman Hart. Are there any other nominations?
Close the nomination.
Support.
There's a motion to close nominations.
Do we have a second?
Councilman Hornbuckle, supported by Councilman Sampe. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Great, seeing none, nominations are closed.
New business, item number 5, appointment of Tim Furlong to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term effective upon confirmation and to expire January 3rd, 2028.
So moved.
There's a motion by Councilman Hart, there is support by Councilwoman Rakowski. Did the administration have anything they wanted to add about Tim?
Tim, thank you. I know you're not with us tonight, but thank you for continuing to serve on the ZBA. Appreciate your continued service to the community. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments from the maker?
No.
Any support?
No.
Okay. Is there any additional comments from the council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Furlong. Thank you for serving.
New business, item number 6, adoption of prepared resolution to authorize application to the State of Michigan Liquor Control Commission for a 1-day liquor license on behalf of the SCOT Youth Development Program's fundraising event to be held at the Jefferson Barnes Community Center located at 32150 Dorsey Street on January 25th, 2025 from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m.
So moved.
Support.
There's a motion by Councilwoman Rakowski, supported by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, sir, thank you. Thank you, Council President. I just had an inquiry, I suppose it's through the chair to our city attorney. I don't know if this has been customary in the past for the city to take, to file and take on the liability of nonprofit organizations that are filed as such. I don't believe we have taken out liquor licenses for other organizations, and I just wanted to inquire as to why we would be taking a liquor license out for the ESCOT organization.
So I'm actually not familiar with the history of this agenda item as far as how it developed, that the city, whoever it was, agreed to file this on behalf of them. I assume it was on city property. I think it was Jefferson Barnes, so it would be appropriate to question the property owner being involved in that process. But other than that, I'm not familiar with the history of this particular item.
May I have one more
Please,
question?
go ahead.
What in general is the expense? I know as being a president of a nonprofit in the past, there is an expense tied to applying for a liquor license, and perhaps Dan's gone, nobody from the finance department's here. Perhaps the attorney may know what that fee is.
I don't offhand. I think it's in the application. I don't want to dig through what we're talking, but I think it probably is identified in here somewhere.
So then, since we're filing on their behalf, then are we also capitalizing on, or underwriting the fees, for that application?
I don't know the answer to that. I would assume that the applicant would have to pay for the application.
Okay, so then we would be considered the applicant in this case.
In this case, yes, it doesn't mean we wouldn't be able to, of course, recover that cost in some fashion from the, I guess you could say, petitioner.
And I certainly would recognize that while we're the property owners as a city in total for the Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center. Additionally, when we've had events, speaking of my past, in which we've had to obtain a liquor license, we've also had to get a insurance writer. So are we also responsible for the insurance writer for the event taking place on Jefferson Barnes for the liability of anybody who would be leaving intoxicated?
Again, I'm not familiar with this agenda item enough to know the answer to that. I do know that when the city has applied in the past for special liquor licenses for these types of situations, they have had the MMRMA provides like a standard form for how they pay up. So that sort of thing.
Well, I appreciate it. I just, wanted to make sure that, those questions were answered, and, I don't believe I've seen us taking on behalf. I know in the past we've recognized organizations as nonprofits so that they could file and apply for the liquor licenses. However, I don't believe that it's been filed on their behalf from the city. So I just wanted to make sure that we are at least within our precedent, or on the other side of that, not starting a dangerous precedent in which the city could be held liable for anybody's intoxication or misuse of alcohol.
Councilwoman, I took notes on that, so I will actually send that to Attorney Fasson, because obviously he's been around a little bit longer and probably has some more familiarity with this to get something.
Sure.
Is there any other discussion from the council? Yes, Councilwoman.
Is the petitioner here?
No.
So I guess based on the fact that I don't believe the questions were answered to my satisfaction, I guess I'd like to make a motion to move this to another agenda item, another meeting, if possible. I don't know if that's fair to do that, but I guess I don't know that I'd be in support with it today, because I'm not comfortable with the non-answers right now.
You make a motion.
So my motion is to move it to the next meeting.
So postpone
Postpone to
December 16th.
Yep. I don't think that would get in the way of the benefits 25th of January.
I can't recall offhand.
I spoke out there, and I apologize, Council President.
We can't hear it all.
Yep.
We can't hear anything. From
Council
anybody.
President, yeah, the question that I made to the attorney off the side, and I apologize, does that give them enough time to file for the event? The only thing I can do is look at here at their application, and it says their event is going to be January 25th. So they'll still give them more than 30 days. I would think that would be good. I don't know, it's just a speculation on my part. It was just a matter of curiosity on mine. So that was it, Council President, I do apologize.
Okay, no, you're okay.
I'll support her.
Support, all right, so there's a motion on the floor to postpone this until the December 16th meeting by Councilwoman Baumann. It is supported by Pro Tem Stanley. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Okay, any dissent? Any dissent? Okay, hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, we will now move on to public comment. Everyone speaking before the council shall do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the orderly conduct of the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, or other speakers or members of the public will not be tolerated. The clock will start upon the first words of the speaker and will not stop while the speaker is recognized from the floor. The speaker can ask questions during the allotment of time, and the person in question may respond during that time. However, the clock will not be stopped once it is started, and the clock will continue to run until the 3 minutes is up or the person is done speaking. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Public comment on the right. Anyone wishing to speak? Public comment on the left. Mr. Warren.
Good evening, council, and to the citizens who are in attendance in here today. There were two park ambassadors, commissioners here, and I just want to point out that the one who's appointed tonight, that the history of the Stoudemire Park was one of the only parks in the city of Westland that was actually built by the citizens. And that was built in 1966. And that park is very important to the residents of the Annapolis Park subdivision and the Carver subdivision, because both of those residents from both communities worked on that park and put the tennis courts in and basketball courts in. So they're very important to us. Firefighters Park came along in 1999 when the city removed the top lot on Richard Street and didn't have any intentions of creating a park. And therefore, the citizens of the Carver subdivision in Apple Park came again and had to approach council at that time and the administration to force them to build Firefighters Park. And so therefore, the park was not, those two parks were not created by any emphasis of the city or the council to put those two parks into those two communities. It was the communities who came together and recognized that they had a park and forced the city to create them and maintain them at this particular point. I just want to point that out. To the chair, to the fire chief. I guess it was a week ago, 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I did witness your emergency truck getting hit on Michigan Avenue. So is that truck still in service now, or what were the damages to that emergency vehicle? Because we in that community were struggling real hard through the ARPA funds and everything to get emergency vehicles down there. So is it still in service?
Yeah, not that particular vehicle. One of our backup vehicles in service there, but that was getting repaired.
Was that the newer vehicle?
That was a newer vehicle that got hit, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak on public comment? Yes.
Ryan Eberhard, President of Westland Historical Society. I just wanted to announce a few events that are coming up. December 10th is our monthly meeting at the Westland Historic Village Park, starting at 6:30. This is going to be our monthly meeting and holiday party. Everybody's invited. On December 14th, we have two events. We're just overachievers that day. First event is Kids Holiday Workshop from 11 to 1 p.m. You can take pictures with Santa Claus, cookie decoration, ornament workshop. Then the museum is open from 1 to 4. We're going to take a short break and be back at 5 for 3 hours while we light up our Christmas decorations. Probably our first time ever doing that for the community at the museum. I do have one question. We were planning a paint and sip event, and if you've ever done one of those, it includes wine and beer, hopefully not hard alcohol. Do we have to apply for a liquor license for that?
If you sell it.
I'm sorry?
If you sell it, you do it.
What if we're not providing it?
Get with them afterwards.
Yeah, we'll talk to you afterwards in the administration.
Okay, that's all.
Is there anyone else in public comment wishing to speak?
Good evening again, guys. I know that there's been a lot of discussion on the media about the new Christmas lights. And I don't know, I tagged a couple of the city council members on a quick concern about students not being able to get to their bus stops or be picked up in their bus routes because of the lighting situation. I didn't know if anybody had an opportunity to address that concern, or if you guys were aware of the concern that the Christmas festival was causing a busing situation. I did take 2 council members. I didn't have the opportunity to take everybody, but they're saying, for those of you who don't know, the result of this, students at the Family Center can no longer be safely picked up by the bus and now have to be picked up at Henry Ruff because of the lighting. And I don't know, I guess the lights are hanging over and the buses can't get through. Is the safety concern?
I did call, I know you tagged me on that, I called the board office, they didn't know of any concerns of bus pickup issues. So I don't know if it was a one-time thing, maybe for setup, but.
No, they said that they are physically being picked up in that area.
It
For
has
instance,
not
that lighting
been with the board office, it's not been communicated to them then.
Okay.
So I can follow up on it again, but to my knowledge, when I made the call after, today, after you tagged me, and that, there didn't appear to be any issues that the board office knew.
Okay.
So, but I can follow up on it.
Appreciate it.
Excellent, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience? Any public comment? Anyone else in the audience? Okay, seeing here none, we'll move on to comments from the administration. Eric?
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, everybody in attendance tonight. Hopefully everyone had a nice Thanksgiving and a nice weekend with their friends and family and loved ones. I'd like to again congratulate and thank Dennis Weiss. Appreciate your continued service on the Board of Review. And thank you, City Council, for supporting his reappointment. Also, to Cassandra Myers, who's here on your appointment to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Council. We appreciate you stepping forward to provide your energy and service to the community. So thank you for that. And also, congrats to Tim Furlong for getting back on the ZBA. I was honored to join the Westland Police for our 8th annual Stuff the Squad car event at Meyer on Friday. It was a little cold. I know a lot of the city council members were there. Thank you for participating as well. It's an event that benefits the Westland Goodfellows, donating hundreds of toys to children in need to make sure that no child is without a Christmas. So thank you to everybody who supported that event. On Saturday, I joined Jason Carr, formerly of Fox 2 News, for Small Business Saturday. We kicked off our Small Business Saturday promotion in Westland at Leo's Coney Island, where everybody received a free breakfast, which was a nice surprise for the folks that were there. We had a lot of fun. We also gave out gift cards to local businesses right here in Westland. We then went over to Time Blaster Toys, which is a retro vintage type toy store over at Hicks and Warren. I then went to Mangia Pizza for a quick lunch, and then I bowled at Westland Bowl with some friends. So we got to get around to a lot of the small businesses on Saturday, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So what I try to really push as our message is, let's support our small businesses all year long. Small Business Saturday is just a great opportunity to highlight those values that we support small businesses right here in Westland. We've also officially kicked off our holiday decorating contest, which will run through December 31st. Residents can nominate themselves or any other home first place winners. And the following categories are most original, simple yet elegant, most over the top. Those categories will be recognized, those winners will be recognized at our council meeting next year, Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. But I encourage everybody to participate. If you see a great display, you can take down that address, go on the city website, and nominate people who are doing a great job with their decorations. A couple cool events coming up this week. The Norway Citizens Council will hold their annual tree lighting ceremony tomorrow, Tuesday, December 3rd, at Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center from 6 to 7:30 p.m., which is always a great event. I'll be stopping by. Also, the Westland Livonia Chamber of Commerce will host the Taste Fest, which is an annual event tomorrow as well, 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Hellenic Cultural Center. Although this one is sold out, but it's a great charity event. And look forward to participating in that as well. Our annual tree lighting ceremony right here at City Hall will be on Thursday, December 5th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Please join us for cookies, cocoa, crafts, entertainment, and the official arrival of Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus right here in Westland. The Westland Historical Society has a wide array of holiday events also planned. I know a couple were mentioned tonight, but just to reiterate those, Tuesday, December 10th at 6:30 p.m. at the Octagon House is the annual holiday party. Saturday, December 14th, Photos with Santa, an ornament workshop from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And Christmas Village that day is from 5 to 8 p.m. So the Historic Village Park is on Wayne Road, just south of Marquette on the west side of the street. There's some pretty cool events going on there. Thank you to the committee over there and everybody who volunteers there for making it a great place to do cool city events. So thank you for all you do. I'm going to be joining Pastor John Duckworth for the Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church Community-Wide Christmas Festival on Saturday, December 14th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Gethsemane Baptist Church. There'll be free gifts for children, Santa Claus, holiday music, dinner will be served, and much more. Please register for this one ahead of time. You can email Nicole Jones at njones@cityofwestland.com, or you can call her at 734-793-9342. The Mike Madonna Ice Arena also wants everybody to know that they have a special holiday schedule for open skating. Please visit cityofwestland.com for dates and times. And then we're also looking forward to another groundbreaking here in the city, another grand opening ceremony here in the city, which is the Pace of Southeast Michigan Center here in Westland, December 13th, 9 a.m. at 360 South Merriman Road. It's part of a nearly $53 million investment from Presbyterian Villages of Michigan, which is senior care, senior living, and it's a very nice facility. They're going to build out their 23 acres here in Westland. They've done that, and we're excited to cut the ribbon there at the Village of Westland on Cherry Hill, which this whole project included the construction of 35 new ranch homes, the creation of the PACE Center that will aim to bring affordable medical care to low-income seniors. As our state rep, I was able to secure $1 million in state funding for this project. Housing and Urban Development at the federal government provided $4.5 million, and I want to thank the city council in particular, for providing $1.5 million in ARPA funding for this great cause. So I want to ask everybody to join us if they're available on December 13th for that pretty cool ribbon cutting. And as we're all probably feel the same way, Merriman Road is finally open. Thank you, Wayne County, for finally, after 2 years, getting it done. Hopefully their next project, which will be Wayne Road, it's a much smaller bridge. They're telling me it'll be done in about 7 to 8 months. one construction season, we're gonna hold them to it. So that's all I have. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor. Any comments this evening from the city attorney's office?
Yeah, just briefly, I had an opportunity to look at the backup a little bit more closely on the liquor license application, and I think there was a little bit of confusion because the agenda item says, adopt the prepared resolution to authorize application, making it sound like the city of Westland is the applicant. In fact, if you look at the backup, there's a private organization that's an applicant, and the city of Westland just has to approve their application because it's taking place within the city of Westland. So the concerns about, who's paying the fees and who has the insurance and things like that, that would all be on the applicant under the Liquor Control Commission's rules. So I just thought I would address that briefly while I have the time of thinking about it. So the private organization, SCI Youth Development, is the applicant. The city just has to approve it because of the nature of it taking place within the city. And that's all I have on that. Thank you.
Great. We will now start council comments tonight from Councilman
Nothing for me today, other than I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving and looking forward to the holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We will now hear from Councilman Hornbuckle.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you everyone for coming out. Really, I left my notes at home, but really I want to talk about is the LEAF program that we no longer have. I've been riding around the city and I've seen a lot of people putting their leaves on the curb still, waiting for a leaf pickup. So, if you see when your neighbor still has a leaf on the curb, waiting for the city to come pick it up, just let them know that next week is the last week to bag them up and priority come pick them up. So please let your neighbors know to get those leaves bagged up so we can get them picked up. We definitely want those leaves down in the snowfall. Me and my kids and wife went out in our neighborhood and probably bagged almost 200 bags for our neighbors just to help bring it along. But I want to get the message out that please bag up your leaves, get them on the curb, because I believe next week is the last week that priority come pick up those bags. Other than that, go blue, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We will now hear from Councilwoman Rakowski.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone who participated in the veteran meal giveaway. It was wonderful to see so many members of council and the administration, as well as County Commissioner Anderson being in attendance. It's I always like to say that it's hard work, but it's heart work. It was so nice to be able to serve so many different families and touch the lives of so many people who have really sacrificed for all of us. Many of us, when they made their sacrifice, we weren't even but a glimmer in our parents' eyes. So always wonderful to see all of those men and women. I'd like to thank all of those who opted or sought to be appointed or reappointed to their boards this evening. The service to your community is the best work of life. I truly believe that. And as an alumnus of the University of Michigan, go blue.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councilwoman. We will now hear from Councilman Wishart.
Thank you, Council President. Just hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. Look forward to Christmas, and please remember, it's not the gift, it's the time you spend with your loved ones that everyone remembers. No one at the end of the day remembers that you got a tie. They remember that you were there. And that is all.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. We will now hear from Councilwoman Thompson.
I just want to with Thanksgiving, and then immediately after we're moving into the Advent season, which is preparing for Christmas, and then we've got Christmas. I just want to encourage people. I know we want to be kind all year round, but this is especially a time to be kind. And I love shopping like at the last minute, so I end up being the kind of person that is around a lot of people who just need an extra moment of kindness and maybe some grace as well. I'm going to ask for as well for kindness and grace for myself and things like that. I was encouraged as we're moving into the season just to remember that, because it can get really busy and we can forget important things like family or just someone in need, a neighbor or whatever. And just remember that taking that extra little step to do that can actually, as I tell my kids, will benefit you far more than you even realize. So that's really what I want to encourage people today. Other than that, I just thank you and have a good night.
Wonderful. All right. We will now hear from Pro Tem.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. So happy holidays. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I celebrated my birthday on Thanksgiving, so every couple of years. Obviously, it falls on Thanksgiving, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's just a birthday, right? Mayor already touched on this, that Merriman Road is open, thank goodness. But I am bummed about Wayne Road because that affects me pretty heavily. So hopefully they can plan and stagger them out, just so it doesn't create additional backup. Usually when one road closes, they just move right over, right? So they just kind of spread out. So not looking forward to Wayne Road, but obviously we know that we gotta get road work done. So I'm gonna work with the administration. I know that Council President and myself talked about this, about the double booking of events. I was looking for our director Mulligan, but he's not here, but I feel like there's a better way, because right now there's a lot of events going on in some cities, some outside organizations, and I know that there's one going on tomorrow, the Norway Citizens Council, which I'm going to be there, and Taste Fest, so we're going to be all over, but we just want to be able to support. So wondering if we could do a master calendar to try to coordinate better. So I'll get with Director Mulligan on that, just to make sure everyone's getting that information and able to book appropriately. And then I know that we did move the liquor license, so maybe through the chair to the administration, if Chris Raymond or whoever's applying for the liquor license, they could come to the next meeting, maybe speak a little bit more about why they're requesting it. I think that would be helpful. And then the Historical Society events, I'm going to be volunteering for the events, but I'm excited that you guys are going to get in the space of doing events and more events. So I think that you guys will have a turnout. Definitely continue to share it on Facebook. That's how I saw the sip and serve and the cookie decorating. So I'm glad that you promoted that tonight. I wanted to congratulate everyone involved in the Veterans Meal Program. So I was able to show up. Councilman Hart, Councilman Rakowski, McFarland, everyone that was involved in the program. I know the veterans were very thankful in collecting the meals, and I did some deliveries, and I think it was very heartfelt for everyone that was able to receive. I wanted to also thank the Westland Police Department. As co-president of Westland Goodfellows, we've been working really hard, and the event was extremely successful. So 24 carts were filled. We had over $450 in cash and gift cards, and it was freezing. Couldn't have been nicer outside, right? But it was well worth it. So I just want to thank my colleagues that were able to come out and spend the day with me and donate to the cause, because this really fuels our season. And yeah, I'm looking at the community police officers and chief, and we have some in the audience. It really fuels the season. So we spent Saturday after, not Saturday, I'm sorry. It was Saturday. How many days are running together? Friday. Well, I was there Saturday too. I was there all weekend. Friday, sorting in our whole office, which is the business office, was now filled. So we were able to unload, wipe everything down because it was snowing and everything was wet. So we had everything out and packed it up, ready for our packing event this weekend. So thank you so much, because it was very well received, and residents were very generous, very generous. We were really appreciative of that. It did get brought up tonight about the Michigan Bright Lights, the holiday event at the historic LOE site. So I'll check into that. Myself, I drove through the display. Just wanted to see what the excitement was about. There's like 250,000 lights. It was incredible. So I really enjoyed it. I think it was well worth the $20. Everything synced with your radio, the music and the lights. It was great. It's very different than the approach of the Heinz lights. So I think everyone has their own taste of what they like, but they did have a Santa Lan, and it was too cold for that, but I was able to at least go through the lights just to check it out, and we thought it was really cool. Very different experience. So they're open nightly, 5 to 10 p.m. at 30712 Michigan Ave, and you can purchase your tickets or $20 right at the drive-up. And it has been touched on the City Hall event, so I won't belabor that. I look forward to seeing everyone at Yosemite Missionary Baptist event on December 14th. I know Mayor took care of that. And I wanted to just thank a few people. So just giving you an update on the Westland Goodfellows. So right now we have 23 sponsors, organizations or business. 140 people donated on our PayPal or wrote a check. And our drop boxes pretty much throughout the city are full. So I just want to thank the community, thank everyone that supported Goodfellows this year. We have right now over 300 children. The applications keep on coming in. I had people just inboxing me. A lot of people came out at the event and asked us if they could be in the program. So we're really not turning anyone down. We're trying to accommodate as many people as possible. But we do have our sorting and packing event taking place on Saturday. If you wish to join us, you're more than happy to help us pack and sort for our families to pick up on Sunday. So Saturday, December 7th, around 9:30, 9:45, we're going to get started at Jefferson Barnes Vitality Center. Feel free just to walk in, no sign up. Just let us know that you're ready to work. And what we do, pretty cool experiences. On Friday night, we're going to set it up as a toy shop. We have all the tables out. We sort by ages. What we do is we give you a list. It's almost like you get to do your own shopping. You try to match a wish list with the toy that is on the table. You put it in a pack. You kind of walk through, make sure the family's situated with their wish list, and then you put it in a bag. We staple it with their name, and then on Sunday they're going to come up and they're going to collect. So as you can see, I'm really excited about this. Goodfellows has done this for many years, but this is the best thing that you could do. It really is. I know that you've done it before too, and it gives you a lot of joy. You know, it brings you that season of just like, I know I'm doing this for a good cause. So if you would like to help us on Saturday, as many helping hands as we can get. The more people we get, the less time we're going to be there. Otherwise, it might be till 5 o'clock at night. But just wanted to invite everyone out on Saturday if you are available to come out and help us. And we'll serve you some pizza. We'll get some donuts and bagels. So it might be a long day, maybe not, but we invite you to come out. Also wanted to thank the Livonia Westland Chamber. November 26th, we had an event. So we had attendees that were able to come and bring an unwrapped toy, and it was a well-attended event. I know my colleague attended as well too. So it was a really, really, really great event, and obviously supporting a good cause. So on our next meeting, Monday, December 16th, we're going to have a small presentation beforehand. We're going to honor some of our sponsors and thank some of our sponsors for the program. So at 7 o'clock is our next meeting on December 16th. But until then, you know, if you need to get in touch with me for any reason, you can reach out on my personal Facebook page, Councilwoman Melissa CMP, or call me at 734-637-2078. Thank you, everyone. Be kind and safe with each other, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Pro Tem Sampi. Well, first off, I'm offering a happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
So happy birthday belated to Pro Tem Sampi. I want to thank Dennis Weiss, Cassandra Myers, and also Tim Furlong for your service or continued service here in the community. Cassandra, best of luck, and you're a real asset to us on the Parks and Rec Advisory. So looking forward to hearing from you and your experience on that. As was mentioned by several of my colleagues and the mayor, a really great event on Black Friday, the No Child Without a Christmas Stunt Squad Car event benefiting the Westland Goodfellows campaign. I want to give a special shout out to our Deputy Chief of Police, who's done this now, I think, almost 10 years in a row, Deputy Chief Wilkie, as well as Sergeant Brandon Paris, our two community police officers, Officer Knopp and Officer Plubchamp, for coming out and supporting this as well. The annual Stunt the Squad Car, and yes, and Sergeant Poker as well. The annual Stunt the Squad Car event, first it was in front of Target, then it moved over to Crunch, and then it's moved over the last couple of years in front of Minor. And each year the community has no problem responding in kind to donating new and unwrapped toys for kids. And one of the great things too is we always heed the warning, don't forget about the older kids. And they came out this year with gifts for all ages, and that was really great to see. So thank you to the PD, thank you to all the support behind the scenes, for Tim Stampy, Ron and everybody at the Westland Goodfellas for all the work that you do, making this event a huge success. I think we're at 24 shopping carts this year?
Yeah.
Pretty much 24 shopping carts with gifts big and small, so there's going to be a lot of smiles from a lot of kids this year at Christmas, thanks to the hard work of people in the community, the PD, and the Westland Goodfellas. I want to thank my colleagues, Councilman Hart, Councilwoman Rakowski, for the great work as always, as well as Dick Bauer at the Wingford Civic League for the Veterans Meal Program. This is really a tremendous event to be able to serve veterans here in the Wayne and Westland communities year after year. What started out as Vic has talked about many times with the small event with him and former State Representative Kasowski, and has grown and expanded, is in no small part because of the hard work from Councilwoman Rakowski, Councilman Hart, Dick, and the team over there at the Wingford Civic League, and all the volunteers who have all hands on deck. So thank you to everybody that came out. I know I saw virtually everybody here on council. I saw our Deputy Clerk Inman out there as well working. Thank you to the football team to work too. So when you're the Deputy Clerk and the kid is on the football team, you've got no choice either way. One's going to volunteer the other. So thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you to my colleagues who made that such a huge success. I had the opportunity to recently do a sleep outside for Covenant House of Michigan. I know our building and planning director, Mo, and you did that as well. Covenant House is an organization that advocates to end homelessness here in the state of Michigan and really across the country. So it was a sleep out where you go outside at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and you're sleeping out till 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. I did it in my backyard. Some folks like Director Ayub actually went downtown Detroit, did it, and really authentically slept out in a cardboard box like a lot of folks do. I had a tent and sleeping bag in my backyard, and it was chilly, but it was also an eye-opening and learning experience. And I think that in a country where we have over 800 billionaires in this country, 800 billionaires, I think in a country where we have 650,000 plus individuals and families who battle homelessness, I think when you have 800 billionaires, you can easily solve the homelessness crisis, but I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that. But to everybody that donated to myself or Director you, to the Covenant House organization, or those in the community that participated in Sleep Out, thank you for doing that. I think homelessness is a scourge upon society and it's something we can do a heck of a lot better at in ending. And thank you for those that donated to Covenant House. This season, not everybody has someone to call family or place to call home, or people that they feel warm and comforted being around. Some people feel lonely, they battle depression or anxiety or a whole host of mental health issues. So if you know someone who's struggling, with their mental health, or maybe they're getting lonely and thinking about taking their own life, or battling suicidal ideations during the holidays, there is help out there. There is the 988 mental health crisis line. It's a free call. They can give you support on the phone if you are someone that knows a friend or family member battling a mental health crisis or dealing with suicidal ideation. You can call that National Suicide Hotline at 988, and they can give you resources and references for how you can help your loved one or your friend who may be dealing with mental health crisis or dealing with suicidal ideations this holiday season. On Thanksgiving, the city doesn't stop. The work in our city doesn't stop. Just because we all get to spend it around our friends and family, there are our first responders and our police and our fire and DPS who are on call, who are working around the clock on Thanksgiving in the holiday season. So I want to thank each and every one of our first responders for working during the holidays, and thank our DPS crew because we're watching the Lions game at home, watching Matt Everfluss blow it with 2 timeouts, which is really unforgivable. Our first responders, it doesn't stop for them, and the work doesn't stop there. So thank you to our police and our fire and our DPS crews who worked, who worked all day on Thanksgiving. And with that, I think that is just about all I have. If you need anything from me, you can find me on Facebook at Councilman Mike McDermott. You can call or text me at 734-890-2146. And as always, it is free to point and laugh at Ohio State fans as they blew another one, 4 straight against the Michigan Wolverines. With that, go blue.